So, as I've done all semester, I'm filling this on the Friday before the week mentioned in the video. Why? Well, because that's what I do. And because that's the case, I have no idea what happened in the Super Bowl. Did Mahomes crush my dreams and lead the Chiefs to another trophy? Did San Francisco manage to topple the commercial beast and win one for my cousins and my friend who has been a Niners fan since we were kids? Yeah, to be honest, I really don't care. I'm not a fan of either team, and I only look forward to what snacks are going to be at the viewing party. Hell, I didn't even do a block pool this year. What am I happy about? Well, I'm happy that CBS will start airing my shows again. That's a plus. Regardless of the outcome of the game, it's over. The NFL season is done, and we look forward to spring training and to see if the Phillies can recapture the hearts and minds of their fan base. All right, this is not a Philadelphia sports class, and videos are already long enough as it is, Bill, so shut the hell up, please. Let's get on to the material for the week. Sorry, I get caught up in this stuff. Anyway, let's get down to the 102 Masterclass schedule. Again, scroll down on the right-hand side, look at this picture here, click on the link, boom, there we go. And then we scroll all the way down to week number 6. Perfect. Well, this features this thing called CSET, which technically should be a review of what you learned in English 101, right? There's 2 documents to look through this week, and then there's the single homework assignment over here, which is another organizer. Before I start talking about how the flyers are actually coming back around, let's dive into CSET now, okay? So clicking on what is CSET, we get into here. So in this, we introduce, or if you had me or other teachers like me in 101, reintroduce the idea of source material in your writing by a 4-step process known as CSET. Very quickly, a little history. I think every single English instructor has their own way of teaching students how to integrate source material because we've seen how terrible it can truly be. When you, the student writer, just copies and pastes material from the source, there really isn't a lot of integration. It's just slap this in and move on. It never works, so instructors like Dr. Bill Lewis from the University of Delaware created a catchy and pithy way to explain the steps needed to really work in your material. My own method also had 4 steps, which were practically identical to his, but I named mine the Shun method, but that's a story for another time, folks. So knowing that pretty much every single English teacher has had a version of this method, what is it? CSET, as you can see, stands for Claim, Setup, Evidence, and Tie-in. It prevents you from just smacking material into your paper and moving on. It weaves external references and your own ideas together to create a readable paper. So let's chat about each section really quickly, shall we? Claim is literally what you're trying to prove with the section you're writing. Sometimes it ends up being a topic sentence, the first sentence in a paragraph that tells your reader exactly what the remainder of that paragraph will include. Sometimes the claim will actually be more focused by being a subpoint of the paragraph. So you might have several claims in a single paragraph depending on the initial topic sentence. Regardless, the claim will show your reader what you're trying to prove, and they will assume that what follows will provide the source to prove it. Setup is literally the material to introduce your source material to the reader. Wow, I used material twice in the same sentence. That's terribly written. It usually includes the source material's main rhetorical information. That means the source material's author and title. After that, you can really add whatever else you'd like to fully flesh out and or underline the credibility of the source. You can add the currency, or year of publication or update, the author's educational or employment credentials, or even the source's material's credibility if it was published by a website or an academic journal. This is where many writers choose to establish the beginning of the citation by dropping the author's name and year right here. Evidence is the easy part because you've done this over and over since junior high. This is where you either provide your direct quote or, better yet, your paraphrase of the material. It's a very smart idea to paraphrase more than direct quote because a paraphrase can direct your ideas in your own words rather than going back and forth with another author's direction and wording. Your goal is to explain material in your own words so that your reader can see cohesiveness throughout your paper. Finally, we have the tie-in, which, in my opinion, is the most important part of this process. I used to call it explanation in my method, but it's literally saying the same thing. How does this material connect to the thesis that you've already established and the overall flow of the paper? How does this specific paraphrase or direct quote, but it still should be a paraphrase, affect the argument of your paper, and why is it important enough to include it within the explanation of the point set up for the claim? Now, many of you who haven't used CSET before just slap a quote in here or there and move on before complaining that there's no way you can make the page length requirement. If you actually take the time and run your quote or paraphrase through CSET, or my Shun method, same thing, there's no way you won't make the minimum length. Instead of a 1 or 2 sentence quote, you're now adding a minimum of 4 sentences onto each instance. It's awesome, truly. So going back, on the next page, writing samples with and without CSET, which is this one here, it's just an example of how much difference it really does make. Now, I also have a Microsoft Word document that I'll include with the announcement so you can see how it works. I'm going to show you that in a second. This here was written by 2 amazing colleagues who I would be lost without. I won't totally go into detail here, but I will in a few minutes. But if you want to take a look here at the sample, you can tell that paragraph 1 didn't use it. Paragraph 2 did. Paragraph 1 is a little bit short and stubby. Paragraph 2 actually has development to it. That's very important. The detail is lacking up here. And this is a writing class. You have to live and die by the details. Make sure to add them in here. Make sure to use the claim, the setup, the evidence, and the tie-in. Obviously, the second example is easier to read and why. And then down here, you can actually go through and see what each thing looks like broken down, okay? This here, it's fine. You know, you can talk about Javenbach's article, To Feel Happier We Have. It's color-coded, and that's great. But like I said, my 2 colleagues, who are amazing, by the way, put together one which I like just a little bit better. So as you can see here, they use color coding again. Pink or purple, depending on your color. I think that's pink and that's purple, truthfully. But pink is going to be your claim. And you can see here, there's only 1 claim in here. They actually give you a little breakout box on the side to explain what it is at the topic sentence. Then your setup is going to be the blue. And look, 1, 2, 3, 4 setups. That means you're introducing 4 different ideas here, 4 different pieces of evidence because that's green. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. Finally, we have the tie-in, which is in purple, and we have 1, 2, and then a huge third one, which kind of doubles for 3 and 4. Again, there's explanations on the side to explain exactly what each piece does and why. This is attached to your announcement, so I would take a look at it. It's called CSET Paragraph Labeled Spanking. There we go. So you can take a look at that at your own leisure and just kind of read through these breakout boxes to see if you understand truly what each of these 4 elements are all about. All right, so now that we're done that, let's chat about the lone assignment this week. The Unit 2 Informative Writing Graphical Organizer. So once you click on here, you'll be taken to the assignment itself. And here are the instructions, but really what we're going to do is click on this link here, and you're going to see a document pop up that looks just like this. Ignore the fact that it says Unit 1 Literature Review Essay Planner. I'm 99.9% sure that I just forgot to change the title here because I use the same format, but it's obviously different. So you're going to fill out all these boxes. Please note that there are directions for the overall idea and then directions for each section underneath. So here we're going to have the topic and thesis information. I just want you to tell me what your general topic is and what your preliminary thesis statement is. Okay? Once you get through that, then we're starting the paper itself. Your introduction should be a single paragraph. Find an attention getter or a hook. Ask yourself, what might an interesting way be to convince your reader that this is a worthwhile use of their time reading your paper? Give me an explanation of the controversy. Give me any idea that I need to know to understand your topic. You don't want to go into your synthesis or your research question as completely ignorant. So make sure that your reader knows at least enough about the topic to grasp the question, because that's what the introduction will end with, the thesis question. This is going to introduce the argument as a whole. What beginning question can you ask when your previous stated thesis statement becomes one logical answer? So if we're asking if parents should be responsible for the criminal activities of their children and be convicted, that's a good question, okay? One thesis statement might be, yes, they should be because. Another thesis statement might be, no, they shouldn't be because. Either way, the question asks, should they be? So there's your introduction. Your background is going to be a single paragraph, and you're going to introduce the two articles that you chose for this essay by giving me the title of the article, the name of the author or authors, the year it was published or updated, the major purpose, remember, persuade, inform, entertain, and what are the main ideas? So give me a quick little summary in here, like a 3-sentence summary in the main ideas. And then down here, answer these two boxes, the important information for your reader. What do we need to know to understand the overall argument? It sounds very familiar to what you did up in this box, but now you have more room, more time, and I expect more detail. And what are the key concepts or shared information? What sort of things do both of these articles kind of understand? Once you get through that, then we're going to get into the comparing perspectives portion. This is the most important part of your paper. Okay, well, one of the two. This is going to be 2 paragraphs minimum, because the first paragraph is going to be a point of argument that you did in last week's graphical organizer, where both articles share the idea, even though they might go in different directions. So what is the first point of the argument? What is the second point of the argument? What is the first article's evidence to support that? What is the second article's evidence to support that? What are the ideas for the tie-in? And then the same thing here for argument 2. The more detail you give, the better your paper will be for next week, okay? Finally, the other important part is your exploratory synthesis, which is going to be 1 paragraph minimum. Some of you might want to give more than 1 paragraph if that just moves you. And here you're going to give kind of your understanding of it, the thoughts of your argument. So what did you think about the issue prior to reading the articles? What do you think about it now? What is the evolution of the ideas? Have you changed your mind at all, or have you dug your heels in? What sort of new concepts have you come up with? Do you have any personal experience with this topic? If you do, what is it? Now, I'm not asking you to share the most deepest, darkest secrets in the world. If you aren't comfortable with it, then don't put it in there, okay? And then, do you think you need any further research to strengthen your argument, or either side? Then you get down here to your conclusion. You're really asking any call to action ideas. What do you want your reader to know, to see, or to do with this information? And then finally, all the way up here in the introduction, you asked a thesis question. Remember we said, should a parent be convicted for the crimes of their kids? That's a question. But down here, your thesis statement will be the answer to that question. I believe yes, I believe no, why, because. Okay? So that's what's going to finish. And then finally, give me your APA references for both sources, source 1 and source 2. That's really all you need there. Okay? The more detail you put into this, the easier your paper will be next week, I promise. And that's all, folks. Probably not the shortest video, but we, just are over 14 minutes. Under 15, I'm pretty happy about that. But you know what? There was a lot to get through. It's important. Now I'll shut up. I hope everyone has a great week. Please feel free to reach out to me early in the week for any help, and stay safe. See ya.